Hello everyone, my name is Mariam Mokhtar. First, Perak, and now Pahang. Fire bombs were lit and thrown at two KK Mart outlets. The first was in Bidor and the second was yesterday morning in Kuantan. This is no longer about a boycott. This is more sinister, more dangerous and very damaging. And so the question is, has terrorism finally arrived in Malaysia? I don't know. Ask the Prime Minister, Anwar Ibrahim. 2 weeks ago, when we warned that the Umno-Baru Youth leader, Akmal Saleh, was a troublemaker, what did Anwar do? Nothing. Akmal played with fire and now the fire has got out of control. Anwar just gently rapped Akmal on his knuckles only after two KK Mart outlets had been petrol bombed. Akmal is the real culprit in the recent violence. He's like the Malay boy who, during Hari Raya, lights the homemade fireworks or mercun buluh and manages to blow off his own fingers and injure other people, perhaps cause fires and other damage. On the 22nd of March, Akmal told reporters 3 things. Number 1, the boycott will certainly continue until he is truly satisfied. Number 2, he will continue the boycott till the end of KK Mart and told it to find other businesses or to go into other businesses. And number 3, he said, let the boycott be a lesson to any party that tries to play with the 3R issues of race, religion and royalty. Akmal ignored all our warnings. So, isn't he the one who is playing with the 3Rs? He is very vindictive and full of revenge, wanting to destroy not just the company KK Mart, but the livelihoods of the workers, many of whom are also Malay. And he said he was not easily satisfied. So, will he be satisfied when there are burnt out buildings, injuries, and possibly death? Ironically, Anwar, on his return from Germany, was boasting about the billions of ringgits of investment from his overseas trips. He returned 2 weeks ago. I am sure many investors, including the Germans, are watching this boycott development very closely. Boycotts lead to fear, leads to acts of violence, leads to lost investment, because the investor will pull out of the business venture because it could possibly lose money. The violence that ensues will make workers feel unsafe. How can you run a company like that? So Anwar can possibly kiss his foreign investors goodbye if he doesn't act sternly and immediately with people like Akmal, who incites violence. On the 22nd of March, Akmal also said that he does not need anyone's approval to defend the plight of Muslims. I repeat, okay? He said he does not need anyone's approval to defend the Muslims. So now, look at what has happened. The people who threw the petrol bombs also had the same thinking as Akmal in that they did not need anyone's approval to defend the plight of Muslims. Shall we ask Akmal if he is happy and satisfied now that 2 more KK Mart shops have been torched? His call for boycott led to violence. It may possibly lead to bloodshed when people lose their lives in a fire. He is lucky it did not happen in Perak and Pahang when these petrol bombs were thrown. Because of his rhetoric last week, others warned that they will set alight the factory in Batu Pahat, Johor. This is the socks factory. So, will Akmal stop his hate speech? Will he acknowledge the damage done by his careless talk? He has compromised national harmony. He has made people feel very afraid. This is people in the community. And he has caused many other similar retail businesses to be jittery. Last week, the Secretary General of Umno-Baru, Ashraf Wajdi Dusuki, said that the Supreme Council supported Akmal. The Malacca Chief Minister, Abdul Rauf Yusuf, also defended Akmal. And then there are the remarks of the Penang PKR leader, Fahmi Zainul, I think, who also defended Akmal indirectly. Today, after 2 shops were firebombed, aren't they embarrassed by their support for Akmal? Did they not see the consequences of Akmal's racist hate speech? These politicians tell us not to use the 3 R's, and yet they do not practice what they preach. When Mart is put out of business because of the boycott, and the workers have no more jobs, will Akmal and Umno-Baru offer the workers employment or some form of bantuan? The socks with Allah imprinted on them are deemed insulting to Islam. Yes, there is no denying that. We are aware of this, but who put the socks in the shop? Who? Did Akmal even think about that? Why would a seasoned businessman like KK Chai, the owner of KK Mart, deliberately put these controversial socks in his shop? Why would he want to look for trouble? Isn't it strange that only 5 pairs of these socks were found? And they were from a consignment of over 18,000 pairs of socks, and yet only 5 were found. KK Chai wants to list his company on the Malaysian Stock Exchange, Bursa Saham Malaysia. So why would he invite unnecessary trouble? You know, this boycott is such bad publicity. Why would he even think about putting those controversial socks on sale in his shops? And if Akmal was smart, he should have examined this socks discovery angle very properly. Who supplied the video of the socks? Wasn't it a controversial Chinese convert who has been in the news for, some might say, all the wrong reasons? And he was the one who highlighted the presence of these socks. Isn't this convert also a rival businessman? So, is his stuff credible? Some people claim this was business rivalry and commercial sabotage of someone planting these controversial socks in KK Mart. But coming back to what Akmal said 2 weeks ago, what did the Home Minister Saifuddin Nasution, who is in charge of internal affairs of the country, what did he do? Nothing. His portfolio is to maintain law and order. Akmal's calls for a boycott encouraged many people to use violence and take it upon themselves to enforce mob rule. Vigilante groups also sprung up. So, what did Anwar's deputy, Zahid Hamidi, who is also the UMNO president, what did he do? Nothing. In fact, he said he had asked Akmal to deal courteously with KK Mart. Courteously? Is forcing KK Mart to its knees and demanding it to start another business an act of courtesy? Are silat vigilante groups and leaking of people's personal details on social media, is that courteous? Is threatening to burn down a factory an act of courtesy? Are the arson attacks courteous? Our definition of courteous is very different from Akmal and Umno-Baru's definition. The Prime Minister, the Home Minister, and the Umno-Baru president could have ordered police chiefs to strictly enforce the law and stop ordinary citizens from harassing and intimidating other citizens. More importantly, they could have brought Akmal in for questioning and ordered him to stop playing around with the 3 R's just to reinforce his demands. You know what? The ignorant Malays, including Akmal and the Umno-Baru Supreme Council, are prepared to defend the Malays and Muslims over these 5 pairs of socks. 5 pairs of socks, and they go hysterical. And yet, where were they when the convicted felon Najib Abdul Razak stole billions of ringgits of our money, taxpayers' money? Where was their voice then? How much is 5 pairs of socks worth? 50 ringgits? 70 ringgits? What did Najib steal? Billions of ringgits. It is an insult to Islam to steal. The religion says we must not take or steal what does not belong to us. Akmal played with fire, and now the fire has got out of control. He cannot hide and say, boycotts must be calm. Thank you for listening. Speak to you soon. If you like my videos, please press like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please also visit my Patreon channel if you wish to sponsor me. Thank you.